Welcome into another episode of the Laser Bros podcast. We are your hosts, Logan and Luke Lazarchik. Tuesday, April 30th, 2024. This weekend we saw the NFL draft. We've seen great NBA playoff action.
Great stuff.
We're going to go over those two things today. In particular, the Phoenix Suns and Minnesota series and the Denver Nuggets and Lakers series, which concluded last night. Nuggets won 108-106 after another Jamal Murray game-winning shot. NFL draft was pretty good. Very chalky for the most part. I think if you did any mock drafts and if you made any bets based on your mock drafts, you probably made some money.
Yeah, it was like there was a couple surprises which we'll talk about. One of them, in the moment, I wasn't even surprised. It was more just like, oh, that happened. But yeah, it was just very. They're talking about all these trade ups, and there just wasn't many. There wasn't many.
Yeah, in a stacked quarterback class, I assumed that there was going to be a lot of trades.
Everyone just, it appears everyone wanted their guys. I mean, the top three got their quarterbacks, and no one else had the guy they wanted. So
yeah, NFL draft, there's always smoke screens, so you can't really believe everything you hear. But at the same time, I mean, everything we were hearing before the draft, how it transpired. So we'll talk about some of the quarterback lane spots, some surprise picks, and of division. I think that one team widened their not dominance, but I think it's pretty clear which team now is winning that division just based on what's happened this offseason. But let's start with quarterback landing spots. So there were 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Caleb Williams went to the Bears, Jay Daniels to the Commanders, Drake May to the Patriots, Michael Penix to the Falcons, which we'll kind of talk about here soon, J.J. McCarthy to the Vikings, and Bo Nix to the Broncos. And when you really quarterbacks, their landing spots really, their talent can sometimes counter where they land, but at the same time, landing spots plays a huge part in as if they're a hit or a miss in the NFL.
No, yeah, definitely. And I think we may have discussed that on last time, how there's certain landing spots that are better. Like you saw McCarthy, Minnesota. I mean, that's clearly, I just think there's no better place to go than Minnesota. Then you also had, I mean, the Bears is also great for Caleb. And then we'll see about May and Daniels. And then Bo Nix, I think, is a nice spot for him. And then Michael Penix is obviously, it's a good spot, but that was the first shock of the night. And that's definitely, it's tough to figure out if that's a good spot or not.
Yeah, so let's go over these spots a little bit. Like, I'm not even like a J.J. McCarthy fan. I don't think he's that good, but the landing spot, could I see him working over Drake May just because he landed in a much better spot? Absolutely. I can see Drake May failing because I don't necessarily trust what the Patriots are doing. Even though they went I think they drafted all offensive draft.
No, yeah. If this draft is awesome, then that could be a great spot. If Polk and Baker are great in the tackle they drafted, it's like, all of a sudden, that's a pretty good spot.
Yeah, but like you said, I think if I had to rank the 6 landing spots, and personally, I think the Bears are probably number 1. Vikings are 2.
I'd still take.
I think it's debatable though. You can still take Vikings if you want. Bears, Vikings, you can flip flop those. 3. See, 3's tough. I think maybe Jane Daniels, maybe Commanders is better. I don't know.
The Commanders, I don't trust that organization, even though it's new ownership. I still don't trust it. I think I'd say Denver is 3rd. If Kirk Cousins was like on a 1-year deal, I think Atlanta, honestly, for me, would be 3rd.
Oh, actually, yeah, Atlanta. Yeah, because the thing is with Penix is, I mean, he'll be sitting at least 2 years, and he's already 24.
He just doesn't need it. Yeah, that's what makes the Penix landing spot tough.
And I wonder if does that hamper his development at all? He's already a ready NFL player, but he has to sit for 2 years. Like, it makes sense. Like, if it was J.J. McCarthy, sitting would help him. Like, when you're already a player that could be ready to come in and play week 1, could that be debilitating or, risk you not working out?
I mean, very well could, but I mean, this is like a weird thing, but I feel like the best thing for him would be like if he got to play like 4 games this year, Like, let's say Kirk Cousins doesn't tear anything, but his Achilles being a little bit of a pain. It's like, you know what, let him rest. And because Michael Penix could start week 1. I mean, I feel like we both agree on that. But everything around that, I mean, you got a new coach. Seems like we're liking the new coach there, but we'll see. But he has weapons, a nice O-line. The defense is building. So you think that's third, but just because he's going to have to wait and he doesn't need to, that's why I'd have Denver third, because I like Sean Payton still. He got his receiver from college. He still has Sutton at the moment if they keep Sutton. And he has a running game. So I think I'd go Denver over Atlanta just for that.
Yeah, it makes sense. And this draft is really interesting how it played out. The first 14 picks were all offensive players, and they were all quarterbacks, receivers, or offensive tackles, which are essentially the premium position, and tight end, which are essentially the premium positions, especially offensive side of the ball. Those are the positions you pay. You didn't see any linebackers or safeties drafted in the first round. And those are just positions that you don't end up paying after the rookie contract. So it was really interesting to see how the early part of the draft played out. And it really, I mean, we saw defensive players basically slip.
Oh, yeah.
My mock draft, I had Quentin Mitchell slipping to Philadelphia, which you were shocked by. And then he was absolutely he was the first corner at 22, which I was kind of expecting to slide to Philadelphia, but you kind of heard rumblings of Philadelphia either having to trade up or Mitchell going in top 15. So it was kind of interesting how all those things played out. And I think with a loaded quarterback class, you kind of could tell, that's a good reason why you didn't really see a lot of, like, Dallas Turner slipped, another player that.
Oh, yeah, Vikings. That was a good get.
Yeah. I thought he was going to go top 10. So when you have this many quarterbacks in the first round, it's going to alter what positions get picked.
And we probably won't see that again. I mean, I know we discussed a little bit, but next year's class is not looking great. I mean, Shadur's projected the first pick, and I like Shadur's game, but you see that tweet? I think I sent that tweet. You saw a tweet.
Yeah.
That's just like not a good character-looking tweet. I mean, saying that he doesn't remember a player from his team last year when you're the quarterback. The whole Colorado thing.
Supposed to be a leader.
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to be connected with every player on that team.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's just like, I don't know why I sent that and thinking like, oh, this is a good diss. It's like, you're the quarterback. And was he a receiver? Was that the position he was? The guy who transferred?
I didn't really get a chance to look at your tweet. I'm
gonna look. If he was a receiver, that's even worse, because that's
and another thing I was thinking about, like, this draft, there were so many QB needy teams. But let's say like Will Levis and Bryce Young kind of turn a corner this year or play really well. How many teams in the league are actually in the quarterback market next year?
I mean,
like, you'll definitely be like Raiders, Giants, but it's definitely not going to be as many as this year.
Definitely Giants. Not definitely Giants. But likely Giants.
They were trying to trade the three.
They loved one guy. And you can't blame them for that. But it's probably Giants, probably Raiders. Raiders need to do something. If I were a Raiders fan, I'd be pissed if I just have Gardner. But
no, I thought the Raiders should have, and we'll talk about Raiders here in a little bit, but I thought they should have taken a flyer on one of these quarterbacks in the mid to late rounds.
I mean, yeah, but if you just don't like them, like if you literally just like, this is a bad prospect, it's like, okay, if you just don't like the prospect, that's okay. My bad.
Let's take a deep. Go ahead.
I was just gonna try to think of the other teams that may need a quarterback. I mean, Jets. Let me take a real look.
I mean, there's not a lot. There's not a lot.
Miami could. Pittsburgh could. There's some coulds. No, you're probably.
And like Saints may need one, but they drafted
Dallas.
Dallas,
maybe.
Yeah.
Tampa's probably Baker has 2 years pretty secured. Rams could. I mean, there's a lot of teams who could, but maybe that a lot of those could just be replaced by other players.
Yeah, and there's definitely like Tua maybe a free agent, Dak maybe a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
I think next year's draft's not even that strong a quarterback class, which is why, and let's shift over to this, which is why I was perfectly fine with the Falcons taking Michael Penix.
Mm-hmm.
And I know personally if I was the Falcons, I probably would have taken Dallas Turner or even like traded back. But looking at the big picture, I'm not a huge like Kirk Cousins guy, and even if I was, you don't plan on being in the top 10 again. So if you like a quarterback that much, you go get him when you're in this position.
Yeah, if you think a quarterback in a stacked quarterback class is the second best quarterback and you're at 8 and you have a 35-year-old coming off an Achilles, no matter how much you're paying him, I'm okay with it. Now, is it weird? Yes, it is weird. How are they going to fully figure it out? I don't know. Could you have taken a player who could be more impactful to help you win this year when you really look like you compete? Yes. But when you want your guy, you got your guy. And they obviously, after Matt Ryan, did it jump right to Ritter for Matt Ryan?
What did you say? They go from Ritter. I thought that they went to Matt Ryan to Mariota,
then Ritter. I mean, I think they're just like, we don't like that. We drafted Ritter in the second round. We took a flyer on him later, and they're probably just like, we are not taking a flyer on a guy. We're taking a guy we want. And so I can't hate you if you love a quarterback taking a quarterback. I mean, there's a chance the guy you would have picked at 8 anyways would have not impacted football really until week 11. So I can't hate it. I can't. And I like, if Kirk gets hurt, you got a good backup. If his Achilles injury is taking a little too long, you have a good backup. I don't hate it at all. At first, I was confused, but I understand it. I don't love it though, but I understand it.
I mean, we saw like 60 quarterbacks play or somewhere play last season just based on because of injuries and all that. It's always good to have a really good backup. I think in Falcons, I think they're the clear-cut favorite in the NFC South. So yeah, could they use a pass rusher? Absolutely, but I think they're clearly. I don't really see much competition for them in the division anyway, so I think they win the division regardless of what they went to. And Michael Penix, I think, is a good future pick. I know he's 24. He'll probably just sit 2 years. He'll be 26. So I think the main question when talking about Falcons is, was their process flawed? Did they jump to try to sign Kirk Cousins too quickly? Now, maybe they fell in love with Michael Penix late in the process and they weren't planning on this, but was their process flawed?
Maybe, but you don't know if you're going to get Michael Penix. You don't even know if you love Michael Penix. You hadn't had the combine yet. You hadn't had a pro day. You probably hadn't talked to him yet.
Because if they were worried about Kirk Cousins' Achilles,
no, but
give me $100 million. Also,
I don't even think this is about the Achilles. I literally think the pick.
I think they fell in love with Michael Penix.
I think they really like Kirk Cousins. I think they have two quarterbacks. They like the free agent and they like the rookie, and they just went and got them both. And quarterback's a weird play. It's the most unique position in sports. You need a quarterback. I mean, the last team with the bad quarterback to win the Super Bowl was Trent Dilfer, but he wasn't. I mean, we didn't watch him. Maybe he wasn't bad, but he wasn't doing much. But he won a Super Bowl and not very proclaimed. Don't think he ever went to a Pro Bowl or anything. And you'll have people who get mad at Brock Purdy saying he's going to hold back the Niners, and I don't think that's the case. Brock Purdy can win the Super Bowl with this team. But if you're under that mindset, you literally couldn't hate this process in the end, because then you got two quarterbacks you think could be a Super Bowl potential winner. So maybe, but I'm still okay with it.
Yeah, I think the only reason that most people hate this pick is because of Penix's age. Like if he was 21, I don't think many people have that much discussed with it. I mean, it's a very controversial discussion on media shows and debate shows.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm completely fine with it. If you don't want to be in top 10 again, and you don't plan on it, and you don't think you will because you have Kirk Cousins, I'm totally fine with taking a guy that if you thought was number 2 in the class and you got him at number 4 at QB4, I'm totally fine with it.
And let's say Kirk Cousins plays 3 years with Atlanta. 4 is the max, but I just think that's very unlikely. I think
front loaded.
Most people think 2. Let's say it's 3. Penix starts at 27. I mean, you've seen quarterbacks start later and still work, and it would.
How old was Aaron Rodgers when he started? Was he like 25, 26 when he made his first career? Like when he was named
24,
starter?
25.
Okay,
I think it's 25. How old's the dude now? I looked it up.
I believe Aaron Rodgers is like almost 40.
Is he 40 yet? Is he older than LeBron?
Wait, actually, is he?
Okay, Logan. Is he older than LeBron? Yeah, okay, he is. He's 40. So, he's like
And I believe
over a
I
year.
read earlier his first career start was like 2008.
Well, when he
So
became
16 years
starter, it was
ago.
like 08, 16
Yeah.
years. So
So
he's like
he's
24.
24, 25. So he was the
Yeah.
age that Michael Penix is. But like
Yeah. And it'll be weird, but I think, it's not like Michael Penix. What if he has 10 years where he's the Falcons starting quarterback from 27 to 37 and you're a good team? It's
yeah.
like, then that
And,
pick was
and,
worth it.
and just because you take a pass rusher doesn't mean it's a guaranteed hit. I mean, they could have taken Dallas Turner, and let's say Dallas Turner didn't work out, and now they're like, we could have had Penix there, but now we know
Yeah.
that we took a play that missed. So
And
I just think
also, wasn't it before? Like, isn't Mahomes the last first round quarterback to still be with his team, or like he's the oldest?
I believe so because like that draft, Deshaun Watson's not with his team,
And
Trubisky's not
even
with his
before
team,
Goff and Wentz,
Carson Wentz is
there.
not with his team. Like
What was the draft before that? I think it's like
2015. I don't 2015. Why am I drawing? Was 2015 Mariota and Winston?
or was that
I want to
14?
say it's,
Either way, they didn't stay.
yeah.
Like,
No, I think Mahomes
and
is
then
like the
Wentz and
last.
Goff didn't stay, and Baker's gone. That one draft of 5 quarterbacks, it's just Lamar and Josh, and Lamar almost left, and that's just because those two are like top 5 quarterbacks. So it's like, he doesn't play 3 years. You're probably just signing him anyways back.
Now they won't be able to take advantage of like the rookie deal, which
I think that's okay.
that's understood. But yes, I really don't have a problem with that. I think Atlanta, I think regardless of winning that division this year, anyways.
Yeah.
Now I wasn't a fan of their second round pick. They drafted a Clemson defensive tackle when Jerzon Newton was still on the board, and I thought Jerzon Newton was a borderline first round talent. I think that was a bad pick. So you could say the first.
I didn't ever hear of him.
Yeah,
Rook, but maybe he's really good. Who knows?
So, but yeah, you could say if you're an Atlanta fan that you kind of wasted your first 2 picks, but long term, I'm totally fine with it. And that's the thing about the NFL is that in 2 years' time, rosters they look completely different. So
yeah,
it's always a revolving door. So I think Atlanta long run made the right move. Maybe in the short term, people won't like it, but you still have Kirk Cousins under center, and if his Achilles goes out or if it just hampers him, you have a really good backup.
Yeah.
So let's move on to, in my opinion, because Michael Penix was linked to the Falcons a few days before the draft, and there's rumors of that circulating. This is actually the pick that surprised me the most. Was Brock Bowers landing with the Raiders, because there was no buzz or rumors that Brock Bowers and the Raiders were a real possibility. And I think, to be honest, the Raiders were not expecting him to be on the board.
Probably not
at this time. And I think they took best player available.
And I can't hate that. I don't hate it at all. He's considered like the best tight end prospect like ever. He's a stud. He's an absolute monster. You get to add, and he can block. So you got Mayer, him, Devontae, Jacoby. They signed Devontae Parker today. Trey Tucker's not bad.
Well, they got Michael Gallup yesterday.
Did I say Devontae Parker? I meant to say Gallup yesterday. I thought that was this morning. That happened last night.
Gallup was yesterday. It was like 7 o'clock or so.
I missed that. I just saw it this morning. I don't know why I said Devontae Parker. But so they have weapons, and quarterback. All the quarterbacks were gone too. Maybe if they liked Knicks, they could have traded back with the Jets. But
yeah,
you probably didn't like Knicks. They probably like. It was reported that them, Saints, and Seattle were trying to trade in the top 10 for Penix. So like the thought of Penix being like this huge reach, just in general, sort of destroyed by that. But I like it. Best player available. There's odds if you picked. Who's someone who went 14? Who went to the
14 was
Saints.
Was the Saints? They drafted Fuaga. I believe it was Talisa Fuaga that went to
I thought. New Orleans. Oh, because Fatanu went to Seattle. Their name or Steelers. Their names are close. Fuaga cannot be good, but you would have drafted him because maybe you want to align more. But now you got Brock Bowers, the stud who carried Georgia's offense at times. So I'm all for it. I like when they announced the pick, I was a little like, whoa, but then I was like, yeah.
No, that was actually like my genuine reaction. Was I was actually shocked. Like the Michael Penix, I was like, well, Adam Schefter kept spoiling the picks, which was kind of pissing me off.
Hate that.
But like, yeah, So at one point I just muted the TV. So whenever he came on screen, I didn't know what he was talking about. But the only problem I have, because like even the Raiders' second round pick, they got Jackson Powers-Johnson out of
That
Oregon,
was
which I
good.
thought, which was a really good pick. The only problem I have with their draft is that they didn't take any quarterback at any round. I would have taken a flyer on Spencer Rattler, Joe Milton, just to take. I mean, just take the risk. You're gonna roll out the season with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell.
I just think they didn't like anyone. I mean, I think they valued the pick where it's like if we think we like someone here, then we're going to take them over someone we don't like. I mean, you got another lineman, DeMar Glaze. I don't know much about him. They say I think DeCamerion Richardson, the corner from Mississippi State, is really athletic. I think he's one of the better RAS scores. You got a linebacker, running back, safety, D-back. So they worked on the secondary up front. I don't know. They went to draft physical. All the positions they drafted are physical. I mean, Richardson's more of an athlete, but I'm fine with it. I don't think you need a quarterback. If you think they all stunk, then don't take them.
Yeah, I don't know. You have Devontae Adams. He's getting up there in age. I would have liked to see the Raiders.
I mean, maybe they still have a move in them to go grab a quarterback, and maybe something we're not thinking of, or maybe they have a move left that they're waiting to use.
I mean, what's the example move that you think?
I don't know. I have no clue. But stuff like this happens. I mean, it just happens. I'm literally trying to look. I don't flipping know. I know. I mean,
like I always put that name out there, and you always. But Trey Lance is out.
I was just going to say Trey Lance. I mean, maybe they like that. I mean, many things could happen. Many things could happen. What if it's week 6 and Kyler just doesn't work or something, or maybe
I don't see
Howell midseason, or maybe the Giants get done with Daniel Jones and they could trade for him and then be like, well, if we don't like him, we can cut him.
Did Tannehill ever sign anywhere?
He's a free agent still.
Okay, so maybe that's a possibility. But I if they roll out week 1 with those two quarterbacks that they currently have on their roster,
I think Gardner can win games. Gardner can win games.
Yeah, for a stretch.
Yeah, but this Raiders team could be better than last year's Colts team. And Gardner nearly got them. Obviously, he limited them at the end, but he nearly got them.
Also, you also have Shane Steichen calling plays.
I know.
That's a big. That's a major help.
I know, but I would say the Raiders have, especially now with Bowers, better weapons on offense than the Colts did. They had Taylor and Pittman, and then a whole bunch of young guys. But the Raiders, I mean, Gardner's not bad, but you just know that you're probably capping yourself at 10 wins, and that's like ceiling. I mean, he got 9 with the Colts. He got 9 with the Colts, Logan. Why couldn't he get 10 with the Raiders?
I don't see 10 wins. Colts, here's the thing. Colts are within this division, you're not getting 10 wins with those quarterbacks.
I mean, but you could have a weak non-con. I mean, anything could happen. Chargers cannot be good. Wait, Logan, why are you acting like the AFC West is so good?
I'm saying you have the Chiefs. But
the only confirmed,
I think Chargers will be improved.
Okay, but that's what you think. But that's what you think. All we know is that the Chiefs are really good. The other two teams could be very mid. They can beat the Chargers in Denver. They could definitely win those games. Maybe Deshaun Watson is an option if the Browns are done with
Browns can't move that contract, and especially not this year. He's getting paid north $60 million this year. He is not getting moved.
I assume that they have some plans, or they're just going to roll Gardner.
I don't think Deshaun Watson will be moved until the end of that contract. I don't think any team's going to take on that contract, especially with 3 years remaining or whatever. Maybe if there's like 2 or 1, maybe. But this year or next year, he will not be traded.
Yeah, you're right. I reached there. I mean, maybe Dak. Maybe
that. Well, man, I want to look at Raiders like cap space situation for next year.
I think they have around like 25, 26.
Okay, so you're paying Christian Wilkins. Max Crosby got extension recently. Devontae Adams is getting paid. I think it's going to be tough to afford Dak Prescott, especially if he's going to be demanding north of $50 million a year.
I mean, you can always do the thing where it's backloaded. But I mean, like, what if they have 22.5 this year? I don't know if this Jimmy Garoppolo thing is counting for not on the website. I'm a little confused.
When was it? It probably is
Well,
over
yeah,
because
but if you look
wasn't
at
always
it, it's
up.
just weird because they just have him like crossed out, but he's still there. Usually, they just take
So
him off.
it's probably a post June 1
Is it a post? It may
type
be a
thing
post June one. Who
because
knows?
they have the same thing on with like Tre'Davious White. His name's crossed out on the Bills, but his money is still accounted for until post June 1. So that's probably the case. Now,
Man, Devontae's cap number is 44 next year.
well, how much do you save if you cut him? Is it even
28.
interesting? Yeah, I don't know. To me, the Raiders are a very confusing team for me right now. I don't know what they're doing and what their plan is. I'm kind of confused of how they're going to go about things in the near future.
I'm sorry, it lagged me out a little, but I heard most of what you said. But I bet they have something. They seem like they're more well ran than they ever been.
Next topic, and this is actually one I thought of. We didn't even discuss it before the show, but I know it's has to do with our Chiefs. Xavier Worthy. Did you think that was the right pick? I was mostly disappointed when they made the selection.
I was not.
I may
an
be absolutely
Xavier.
wrong, but
I was not an Xavier Worthy fan. But at this point, I'm not judging the pick, even though the Chiefs, when it comes to weapons, they're not good at drafting. I mean, Rashee Rice is good. Clearly, we now got to wait on that, which sucks. But I'm going to just trust the organization on this one. 3 Super Bowls in 5 years or whatever.
The main problem I have is, one, he's 5'11", 165, which, if you guys know me, I'm like 5'11", 150. Like, and Xavier Worthy, I'm not comparing myself to Xavier Worthy, but just to think that he's 15 pounds heavier than me and the same height, essentially, kind of worrisome. And to be honest, I think teams overvalue just straight speed. I think it's such an overvalued, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like quality of a player, or attribute of a player. Like we saw John Ross, and Xavier Worthy's probably a better prospect than John Ross, but we saw John Ross run a 4.22 years ago and get picked inside top 10, and he never panned out. And like with the Chiefs, when you look at Chiefs receiver core, it's Rashee Rice, who's now probably going to be suspended. Marquise Brown, who's a small receiver. Sky Moore's a small receiver. Kadarius Toney's a small receiver. Like there's a huh?
Don't even count Sky Moore.
Okay, whatever. My point is he's on the roster, and these are all small guys.
I don't care. They're good at what they do. I'm just trusting them that they have their plan.
I'm hoping it works out. I hope I'm absolutely wrong. I have my doubts about this.
It's probably not. I would have wanted Leggett or a McConkey, but
even McConkey, because McConkey could be Chiefs kind of need that clear slot receiver. I think McConkey would have fit that. Like Sky Moore hasn't panned out, but I don't know.
Sky Moore was a bad pick.
And I know Donnie Mitchell has his questions. Like
Donnie Mitchell.
That was a player I wanted, but I understand the questions with like team meetings and all that. He acted like he was basically uninterested in the process. But I don't know. And train up for him, which I was shocked that the Bills, in fact, traded down.
I think the Bills had a game plan, and I think they executed it. Their Keon Coleman pick, again, I'm not the biggest fan of, but maybe they see something. Josh really liked him. So those are 2 receivers like I'm not bullish on, but they landed in 2 of the best spots, which makes it very interesting, which takes it back to that quarterback question about landing spot. It could be very much the same here, where Xavier Worthy, if he gets drafted by like the Saints, hypothetically,
or Steelers.
I know
Steelers
know what
Steelers know how to
doing.
pick the receivers, but I'm saying with those quarterbacks.
Logan, Steelers pick a receiver, the dude's probably at least going to be solid. Even like Chase Claypool was really good for a time before.
Or Carolina. I think if he landed in Carolina, it would have been a disaster.
But I kind of like what Carolina's doing. I know. I think that Leggett and Jonathan Brooks could be good. We'll see. But yeah, I'm okay with it. I trust them. But if he doesn't pan out, the Chiefs, next time they draft receivers, should probably stop going for the speedster if this one doesn't work out. Get some size.
I would say so, yeah. We drafted McCole Harmon over DK Metcalf.
The DK thing was weird. That was weird. Because he was like mocked as high as 9 after the combine, and then everyone was like, yeah, no. And then obviously it worked out for him.
Yeah. Let's move on to our last NFL draft topic. And I hate talking about the Cowboys, but they enter this offseason. Jerry Jones says they're going all in. And to me, they didn't draft a receiver, or they drafted a receiver at 6th round, I believe, was the first receiver, or the only receiver they took. They didn't draft a running back, so Rico Dowdle is the top running back on the depth chart. They draft offensive linemen, which they're always really good at developing those. Do you think that they are, and this is weird to say, but do you think that they are trying to go against Dak Prescott to somehow lower his asking price by not giving him a loaded talent around him so that he explodes?
That's the question you asked me? I did not know that
Yeah,
was
I felt weird
your angle here. No,
like,
man.
Were they like, because let's say they draft a receiver 1st round, and you have top 2 receiver, you have really good receiving core, and they'll say go aggressive and get a running back 2nd round, and then Dak Prescott explodes, and now you're kind of trapped into giving him close to $60 million.
That's definitely not what they're doing, man. They're trying to win. I think here's what happened. They like Guyton. They took Guyton, and they like this defensive lineman. And then I covered K-State football for 2 years. Let me tell you, Cooper Beebe's going to be a really good player. I think the fact that he fell to 3rd round was nuts. That dude's going to be good. Now, do I hate that 2 of my favorite players I've covered for K-State have to play for the Dallas Cowboys? Yes, that sucks. I mean, Deuce Vaughn probably won't play a ton, but he's still, every time interviewed, talked to him, seemed like a really cool dude. So I'm always rooting for Deuce. And then same with Cooper Beebe, just seemed like an awesome dude. And they're both very talented. So, I mean, you got 2 linemen. They draft linemen.
They develop linemen very well. I do agree with that.
They could have a great line again. And sometimes just that great offensive line does so much. I know they didn't take a receiver. They signed Zeke back. I mean, maybe you can go find a receiver. I think they should sign Zay Jones now that he's been released from the Jags. Like, that'd be perfect. I think Zay Jones would be a great fit. Him and Cooks would be 2/3 together. Don't really know who would be which one, but I think that could be solid. Maybe they want something like that. I'd be surprised if they don't try to go get Zay Jones quickly. I think that's a great fit. So I think they're still okay. I think that question was kind of ridiculous. What are we? Skip Bayless here with these takes.
Skip Bayless want to ask that question. Now, do the Eagles? I thought it seems like every year the Eagles come out of the draft as one of the top winners, and they did again. Getting Quentin Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. I don't know where you stood. I was kind of on the fence of picking between these 2 teams. But are the Eagles the clear favorites now to win the NFC? I mean, do you think what they've done this offseason separates them from the Cowboys?
I mean, I don't think it fully separates them. I'd pick them. I did see Nick Wright make a really good point, and sometimes Nick Wright, I think he's smart, he makes good points, but you can see bias. But he made a good point about how the Eagles always just draft, like their draft.
Based on mock drafts. I was watching that, dude. It's based on like Peel's mock drafts.
Like that's
so then everybody.
Because then I don't know if that's what they're doing, but like that's kind of like I think they always kind of do that. If you think,
and that's why the media always thinks they're really good picks because the media are making those mock drafts.
No, yeah.
So
like what if Nolan Smith is just like not that good, but we're still hyping up Nolan Smith because he was highly ranked and then went to the Eagles and they're just like, oh, he's a backup. And Jordan Davis and people like that. So I'm not saying what they're doing is. I'm not saying they're making bad picks, but that is interesting.
I think they have way more talent than. I think when you look at the 2 teams, I think they have way more talent than the Cowboys.
Well, yeah, but also like the Cowboys kind of beat them at the end, and even the game the Eagles beat them, the Cowboys should have won. I mean,
no, but that's because their secondary is so bad. Like they got Cooper DeJean was the 1st-round talent. They got 2nd round. Quentin Mitchell fell to them at 22.
I know, but we don't know that these guys are gonna be good. We still don't know, and. They didn't really.
Jalen Carter he was really good. Jordan Davis was really good his rookie year. I think the defense and people say like they were disappointed last year, the defensive line, but the defensive line also works this. Like if secondary is just leaving players wide open, it's tough for those pass rushers to get to the quarterback.
I know, but
receivers are instantly open.
We still don't know if the secondary will be good. These guys are rookies, so we don't know. I mean, I like Denia Smith. That's just someone I've liked for a couple of years. Watching his highlights. I've always liked his highlights. But I mean, he was a 5th rounder, 6th rounder for a reason. But I mean, they're the favorites, I'd say.
And they got Vic Fangio for defense. Like that's a clear upgrade from what they had.
Wasn't Vic Fangio just with the Dolphins though? And they were kind of mid.
Yeah,
I mean,
but like
maybe because isn't it that Vic
I will
Fangio?
take Vic Fangio over what the Eagles had last year in defense.
I know, but isn't that Vic Fangio does really well when he has a stacked cast, and we don't know if this is a stacked cast. Like he just makes the really good, really, really
We don't
good.
know if it is, but I think it has potential to be a stacked cast.
I
Like
don't know. I just like who's the superstar on defense. I don't think a player is currently the superstar.
okay, currently yes, but who potential wise, like right now you're just talking about
Well, yeah, but
today.
we're going on
But we're talking
potential.
about
They don't have.
yeah, but that's a
They
lot
don't.
of what this is potential. Like Cowboys, a
I know,
lot their
but
offensive line is all potential.
okay, but
Like
the Cowboys have stars. They have on defense. Micah Parsons is a star. What? I don't. I mean, Trayvon Diggs is
Trevon
good.
Diggs.
Why am I having to look for the guy who had the most picks last year? Darren Bland is really good. I mean, the Eagles just don't have as many of those guys who you just
I mean,
know
Jalen Carter
are.
was really good last year.
I mean, he was good. I mean, he was
There was
good.
points where he was dominant last year. Why are we
I mean,
just
how
saying he was
many?
good?
I know sacks aren't everything, but I'm looking for a sacks count.
Like
Why can't
tackles, pressures, he was very good last year. Now the whole team just
he
fell
had
off towards the
six
end of the
sacks?
year.
No, yeah, he's really good, but you don't know if he's that thing yet. I don't know. I still want to make it to where, and then they fell apart, and we don't
That's why I
know.
said talent. Talent is
But no,
also
okay,
potential.
yeah, but it's not talent that has produced at a superstar level. The Cowboys have more players on defense that have already done it at some high levels, and I think
Yeah,
that's
they're also
something.
older too.
Yes, okay, but you're talking about Micah. Yes, that's
No,
the
no, no, no.
point.
I'm not saying
Older,
they're out of their prime, but I'm saying let's
yes,
okay.
but
These Eagles players are given a chance
but
to actually
but
produce.
you're acting
It could be
like
this year.
but but you're saying they pushed away from the Cowboys when first they didn't ever win the division last year. Cowboys still won it, and they're still yes, they're still unproven. That leans. I would pick Philly, but it's still close in my opinion. And the Philly coaching stuff, Mike McCarthy's not great, but Mike McCarthy, I think in the regular season is going to bring stability and just win some football games. I mean, we don't know about the Eagles coaching staff. That could be kind of a mess.
No, I still think
I
there's a lot of
just
question marks, but like
yeah, but it's not. They did not push away. No,
you don't think that at all. Like I think,
I
in
don't.
my opinion, I think they had more talent on their overall roster last year. They were terrible towards the end of the year.
Yeah, but and they still lost the division.
Yeah, and if we know anything about the NFC East division, that it's nobody
Okay,
ever
yes, but I'm
repeats.
not gonna
That's
base it
another
off
thing.
that. That's wild. That's a wild thing that happens. That at some point will end, and then we'll never bring
You
it
said
up
the same
again.
thing last year, and
Yes, it will one day end, Logan. It's not gonna last for 100 years. It will one day end, and when it ends, you would never bring it up again because then it ended.
I think Eagles
I
had a clear weakness, and they addressed it pretty well.
with rookies.
Yeah, but that's what the draft is.
Well, yeah, but the draft.
What
But
do you
you're
want?
talking about the draft can sometimes be for 2 years in the future. First, you don't even know if they're good yet, and it could be 2 years. I mean, maybe you strike gold, but you just don't know yet because these guys will be
This
thrown
is why I'm
in.
projecting. I'm not
They
saying
will
this is why I'm
be
projecting. I'm
thrown
not.
in. They will have to instantly produce, and it'll be a lot of pressure.
It will there's probably be like learning curves, especially when you're thrown in that young. Yeah, there
Yeah,
could be
but okay,
difficulties
but
early on.
two rookie corners do not push you further from another team to where it's like, oh my gosh, this is a huge gap, especially when you
When the
didn't
other
win
team
last
doesn't
year.
address most of their needs, I think it
Okay,
does.
but
And just like
they
the
could
Cowboys,
literally
they got offensive linemen and they didn't receiver outside CeeDee Lamb. That's in their entire offense. They have no running game.
okay,
They have a
but what
washed
if they get
Zeke.
Zay Jones?
Rico,
If you get Zay Jones, then you have a pretty nice trio. I mean, it's not the best, and you still have a quarterback who plays pretty solidly. And people were questioning Jalen Hurts last year through 15 picks. I mean, you just don't know. They didn't win the division, and they upgraded their weakness with rookies. That is not like some bulletproof plan. So no, they didn't build some huge gap. They did not, in my opinion.
okay. That's just somewhere where we're going to disagree. Anything you want to add before we shift over to NBA side of things?
I just like to say that the Cowboys, I don't think that. I mean, you can always find a running back and Zay Jones. I just don't think it's a bad draft. It could be a very good draft. You drafted if you have two future starting offensive linemen,
Oh, of course, yeah.
and with how
I
they
don't have a
draft
problem with those
offensive
picks.
linemen,
I just would have
trust
liked
me,
to see him draft a receiver
Cooper
or running back.
Beebe will be
That's all.
better than either of those corners. Just gonna say that Cooper Beebe will be better than either of them. That dude's.
See, I don't think you can say that for sure. I think I think he'll be very good, but I don't think you can say that for sure.
I mean,
We haven't seen any of these guys
that's
play.
my prediction. It's my prediction that Cooper Beebe will be better than both those guys.
Okay, and my prediction is those two corners will be very well for the Eagles, and that doesn't even mean necessarily this year, but just
Yeah, but Cooper
in terms
Cooper
of
Bede's
future.
like a 5-time multiple time All American. It's just like his arms. And the Cowboys are successful at drafting offensive linemen, while clearly the Eagles are not great at drafting secondary. So, I think you put more towards that as well.
All right, let's shift over to NBA playoffs. What series do you want to talk about first?
Probably one last night. I mean,
All right. Let's talk about the Nuggets and the Lakers. Nuggets win this series in 5 games. Now, the Lakers led for the majority of this series, which is why I pose this question on the bottom of the screen. Are the Nuggets vulnerable going forward, especially because they're playing Minnesota, who we'll be talking about here shortly? But, I mean, Nuggets, they really did not look good this series. I mean, they had 2 games in which Jamal Murray, buzzer beater, and on a bad leg, hit another game-winning shot.
mm-hmm.
Have no real depth. Caldwell Pope suffered an injury last night. Reggie Jackson suffered an ankle injury the other night.
Mm-hmm.
What's your I know you're a pretty big Nuggets fan. You got a Jokic jersey in the back, wrong shoulder. Yeah, there you go. What's your confidence level at with the Nuggets going forward in these playoffs?
I still think they should be favored to win the finals, but
yeah.
I mean, I did not think they were this unstoppable being heading into the. I mean, they had the 1 seed and then they lost to the Spurs. This is why they have to play Minnesota now. This is on them. They had it, and then you lose to the Spurs when you're up like 25. And I mean, I know Victor went nuts, but you can't just let that happen. I think Jamal's fine. He just dropped like 32 and hit another. Jamal's fine. I think the injury part, I think they're fine. I also think they played a really good Lakers team, and people are acting like the Lakers pretty good. Like LeBron, AD was awesome. No one's gonna play Jokic better than AD did. The only chance would be Embiid, and he's probably not making it past tonight. I picked Knicks to win.
Well, apparently Embiid may not even play tonight. He had migraines earlier today. He wasn't present for the team shoot around this morning.
That dude's gonna play. I did not know that, but that dude's gonna play. But so that's a factor. I know they have Cat and Gobert, but again, I think AD guards Jokic better than Gobert does, and then AD is better offensively against him than Cat is. I mean, Edwards is a dog. But yes, Denver's vulnerable. But I never thought they were unvulnerable. I still think they're the best team at the moment, but I don't think it's by a wide margin. Michael Porter Jr. has been great. That's like, if he was not as good as he was this series.
This series is probably still going on.
Oh, yeah. We probably could go into 7 games. I mean, he was fantastic. I feel like he hit every clutch shot he needed to. And last year, just did not feel like he was doing that at all. Feel like he'd have that moment where he had like a really good third quarter, but I know like really
it's much more consistent. He would go in these spurts of scoring 10,
and
12
then
points and then he would disappear and struggle. He was a very streaky shooter, but now he's much more consistent, and the game has kind of slowed down for him. I mean, there would be times in past seasons where he would just force up contested shots where early in the shot clock you didn't even get your play going in, you don't get the defense rotation. So yeah, I think Michael Porter is the key to his team, and really the only reason I'm doubting the Nuggets now is because of their depth. I mean, they have no bench. They don't really get any bench points. They're heavily reliant on Jokic, basically creating the entire offense, and Murray can take over from time to time, but Jokic is the factor or the element that opens up the rest of this offense.
Yeah, I think that like off their bench, if you just look at their stats from
like their bench is just pure energy. There's no like Christian Brown. He gives good energy, but he can
Peyton
give
Watson is athletic
points
defender,
a night.
not really a scorer. Reggie Jackson could score, but it's probably just going to be once a series. DeAndre Jordan just comes in for Jokic if they need a big and he needs to sit, and then Justin Holiday. Yeah, he's Justin Holiday. So their depth is a real problem, and like Minnesota's a tough matchup.
Exactly. Very tough matchup. Who do you put on Anthony Edwards?
That's easy.
Aaron Gordon?
You put Aaron Gordon on him.
Okay, so then Michael Porter would be on Cat, and Jokic on Gobert.
And then Jamal would be guarding. I'm trying Conley, or KCP may take Conley to front him. And who am I blanking? Who's the last Minnesota starter?
Did you say Conley?
Oh, McDaniels. McDaniels. Yeah. I mean, McDaniels is fine, but I don't think KCP or
I
Jamal
think
Murray.
Minnesota has a lot of players, and let's just switch over to the Minnesota side of things, even though
Yeah.
it's top of the Suns. I think Minnesota actually has a lot of players that they can put on Jokic. You could put
I mean,
Nasri,
yeah,
you could put
no one's
Gobert,
gonna
you could put
stop
Cat,
him,
you
but
could
yeah,
put McDaniels if you double Jokic.
yeah.
Like Minnesota has a lot of good defenders, and they have a lot of players that know their roles and have different skill sets, which I think is going to give the Nuggets issues. Now, I did look at odds today.
What
You
are the
can get
odds?
the
I have
Timberwolves
not
for
looked.
Timberwolves are plus 172 to win the series.
I thought it'd
You
be
get plus odds.
71 plus 172. So are the
And I believe Nuggets
Nuggets
are like
like
minus
130?
128.
Oh, pretty
So
close.
yeah, so I think it's gonna be a really interesting series. Now, I posed a question about the Suns. They're pretty much screwed.
Oh, I would. I mean, I don't think they're going to do it. The new owner syndrome very much screwed them over. I mean, they
Like
got a new owner and he went for it.
Beal is owed 160
No,
million over the next 3 years.
Beal is the most
You
likely to
can't
be a
move that
Phoenix
contract.
Sun. If
Yeah.
you say 3 years, pick one of those players is still a Phoenix Sun. It's Bradley Beal.
You can't
Who
move
the
his
hell's
contract.
trading? Unless like the only way is if there's just a team with 2 really bad contracts
And what
to match
do
up
the
with
Sun?
Beal's.
What can the Suns even get for Durant at this point?
I think you get a lot.
A team's not going to pay multiple first round. I don't think it's gonna be 3 first round picks you get.
Logan, if you go to the Pelican, yes, they would. It's Logan. It's still Durant. Look at his numbers. They're not. If you go to the Pelicans and say Brandon Ingram and multiple firsts for Kevin Durant, you can probably get
Well,
that
the Suns
done.
take that. That's like the same prototype player, and Durant's way better in my
Okay,
opinion.
but it's cheaper and you get all these picks. You get many picks.
I don't think it's a guarantee that you get that many picks. I just don't.
I think
age.
well,
He's
I'm
37,
asking for the
36.
picks. I'm asking for the picks. The Pelicans have a ton. Okay, Logan, he's. I mean, let's look at it. It's like LeBron. LeBron could be good till he's 42 if he wants to. I mean, good is like
And
I mean,
Durant's recent track record, it's like, do I want that guy? Like he's always trying to form
no,
super teams.
you
And
got to
it's just
trade
like,
for Durant, and it's like, hey, we're trading for you, and you're not calling any of your buddies. Could you imagine? So let's just say it's Ingram, and let's just say they just throw the haul of picks. You still need a point guard in some way. So Pelicans, because they didn't have a point guard, same as Suns didn't have a point guard. Teams need point guards. I don't know who you get. You probably get someone, and they'd probably be smart enough to try to get someone this time. But okay, point guard, and then you have
are the Knicks? Do you think the Knicks are?
Oh yeah,
Potential
I like the idea of I think that Durant with Zion would be really cool.
The thing with Pelicans, though, Brandon Ingram, and you already have a KD type of archetype.
But
I don't know.
But he's Kevin Durant.
No. If you were talking about Durant 3-4 years, and I still think Durant's very good, but he's 37, 30. Like
he
he's
just averaged 27 in this series on 55%. Wait, is that right? No, 30. He had 30 twice, 25. He had one bad shooting game against Minnesota, a very good defensive team. And he was in this weird system. Logan, if it's him and Zion and you have Herb Jones and you got these defenders next to him, Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. I try to find a way to get rid of CJ McCollum, but I just don't. He has like a worse Bradley Beal deal. It's like obviously not nearly as bad.
To be honest, I think you get more for Devin Booker than KD.
Well, yeah, but you can't trade Devin Booker and keep KD.
No, I think if I'm Suns, I'm trading both.
I get rid of them both. Yeah, you can get.
I'm getting rid of both, and I'm starting over.
See, if you send Durant to New Orleans and Booker to the Knicks, that's looking pretty.
I think KD fits much more with the Knicks than Booker. You already have a ball dominant guard there with Brunson. I don't see.
No, yeah, that could be fair, but I just like the. I mean, there's who knows the Magic. They have a ton of cap, and they have players they could trade, and I don't think they've gotten rid of any picks, and they're good. I mean, I'm trying to think.
I was gonna say 76ers, but I don't know about that with Durant.
They don't. Here's the thing. They don't really have they don't have salary to trade, so it'd have to be all
you have to match the contracts.
Well, no, I don't. They wouldn't need to if they don't sign anyone because they. But you'd have to like trade all your picks, and then it'd be a different version of the Phoenix Suns. But this time you have. I mean, I think the trio of Maxey, Embiid, Durant would work better than Durant.
Suns have no center close to Embiid's capabilities.
Yeah, but then the Sixers are also they're in garbage town in terms of bench. I mean, maybe
That's exactly what I'm saying. If you trade for KD or whatever, your bench is going to
just
be.
the Sixers. You can literally, if you're Logan, that's why I said the Pelicans. You could literally swap Brandon Ingram and picks for Durant. And I liked Ingram this playoffs. I had some hope in the Pelicans. You did not. Ingram was terrible. I think we'd see it's a huge upgrade. It's a huge upgrade.
No, I think so too. But I also think, would the Phoenix Suns even want to do that though?
I mean, we don't know, but we're just saying what we'd want.
I mean, same type of player and a player. It's a downgrade.
I know it's a downgrade, but you take the picks, and they have no picks. And if you also trade Beal, then you have all these new picks in. Another Durant spot, Miami. Get Hero. I'd want Hero. I'd probably
that
ask
makes
for
sense
Bam.
because they have so much depth that they can give up.
No, yeah,
some of that.
but I mean, I'd ask for like all of them. I'd ask for Bam, Hero, Hawkes, Jovic, but it'd probably end up being Hero, Hawkes, Jovic. But then you really lose a lot. Like that's tough if you're the Heat and you're old.
Yeah, see, I don't know. That's my point. These teams,
that's why I'm saying I really like the Pelicans deal. I really like the Pelicans
deal. But we
just
talked about like a team with a huge depth, and you just said you don't like their depth after doing that.
Okay, but the Miami Heat don't have as much depth, I think, as I mean,
at this point, I'm not trading for. If I'm a team, Durant, I think will get traded. But I wouldn't like if we were in a city that had an NBA team and they traded for Durant, I would not be happy.
I think I have my team. I don't think Durant would like it, but I think I have my team. Let me look at
the
NBA.
Pelicans?
Well, no. Well, Pelicans are my team, but I think I came up with something. It'd be this team. You're gonna have to give me a second. Let me look at their cap next year. They have to. I know they have to sign their own guy first, but they can sign him and then mess around. Where is? Hold up. Give me a second. I'm sorry. The anticipation.
I'm trying to think.
The anticipation must be killing you.
I'm trying to think of what team you're.
Okay, they could figure this out. Maybe you figured out the Pacers.
What would you give up?
Well, so you'll have to give up some contracts. So it starts with Mathurin. I mean, maybe you have to give up Jarris. Okay, well, first they need to re-sign Siakam because you want the trio of Siakam, Durant, Halliburton. That could work.
So would you get rid of Miles Turner? I'm not getting rid of Miles Turner.
See, that's the problem. But Miles Turner's a free agent. He's on a good deal. So maybe you could 3-team trade it, get a not as good center, but
Miles Turner is a free agent?
No, after next year. My bad. But you can give up Mathurin and Jarris Walker and Ben Shepherd and then throw picks. I know they traded some picks to the Raptors, how they got Siakam, but they didn't throw they still have some picks, but you'd have to get a little funky with it. Maybe you'd have to give it Miles Turner, but Miles Turner that'd probably be a 3-team trade. And Miles Turner, if you put him on the market, he's gonna get some.
Yeah, but do I necessarily want to lose Miles Turner? Like he's been very good these playoffs. I know they're playing. But Bucks team, but he hit 7 threes last game. I think he was 7.
I know, but Logan Durant's still so much better. Miles Turner's very good, but
I hate to say it, but I think at this point I would not trade for Durant. Everywhere he goes, it's just it's
okay,
disaster.
But everywhere he goes,
and now
he gets.
And you also have to give up.
Stuff.
If teams view the way you view Durant, and they're willing to give up all his talent, there goes their depth. And then it's the same situation you have in Phoenix. They have no depth, no size.
If you could keep Miles Turner, you could probably keep Miles Turner. You would lose a lot of depth, but they also have young guys on young contracts that maybe they could keep a couple. Keeping Nebhard would be nice, but that'd be difficult. You probably need some people to step up.
Here's
I think the Pacers is very.
But
plausible.
do the Suns get any players in return that actually fit their needs? They get a big man, but let's say they don't get Miles Turner.
Mathurin.
Is he a pure point guard? Because that's what they need.
Okay, but if you're trading Durant, you're not trying to win. In my opinion, if you're trading Durant, you're not trying to win. You're rebuilding.
I just think Suns are in a tough spot.
I think Mathurin could be a very nice player to start a rebuild. He's not probably going to be your one player. Jarris Walker, big defender, hasn't really played much. Because you have Durant, Siakam. I know Durant's not locked down, but he's still a good defender. Siakam's a good defender. Halliburton's okay. You probably still have Neesmith. I don't think that contract. Yeah, I think it could work. You'd have to get a little tricky, but it could work. and
If I'm
you'd have to be like,
I'm not tearing my team down for that. I'm
but
sorry.
are you going to win a title with Halliburton and Siakam?
They're a
Probably
young
not.
team. They're a
Okay,
super
but
young
you're just
team.
probably not winning a title with Halliburton and Siakam as your two main dogs. Now, if you throw Durant in, you
They've
can
already
beat
made
anyone.
one huge trade. I don't see them making another trade. Especially when
I
you
can see
give
them
up a
do it.
lot for Siakam and you have
They're
to pay
bold.
Siakam.
Actually, they made two bold trades because trading Sabonis for Halliburton was a bold trade. They are bold. They are ran in a bold manner. I think they could do it. I mean, I'm just spitballing a thing I thought of. I think it's plausible. I think it could work.
I absolutely disagree. But let's shift over to the other team in this series. And we've kind of already talked about Timberwolves, but do you think they're good enough to win the title? And I think if they
Yes.
beat the Nuggets, I think.
I
Okay, if
think
they
the
beat,
winner.
let's say they beat the Nuggets, are they now the betting on favorite to win the title? Would the
I think
betting
it's still
odds shift that
Celtics.
much?
I think
You still
aren't
think it's
Celtics favored anyways?
what they said Nuggets were? I
Well,
haven't looked at the odds.
I mean, I think I misspoke. I meant Nuggets out of the West. That's my bad. But NBA Finals, Celtics plus they're literally plus 125. They're near even odds. Nuggets are
If it was
240.
Minnesota
No,
Celtics in the
Minnesota.
finals, I think I would take Minnesota because the route in which Celtics would have to take to get to the finals isn't that impressive. And
That doesn't
the
make.
route, I know,
But that
but
doesn't
like
make
if
Minnesota
Timberwolves get through
better.
if Timberwolves got through the Nuggets, and let's say
And then Thunder or
Dallas
Clippers or
I'd be way
yeah.
more impressed with that than what the Celtics. And
I mean,
that's
yeah,
just the
but
thing.
I
That'd be super. Like
I would take
Mike,
Celtics.
your
In my
confidence
opinion, the
would have to
Celtics winning the
be.
title. No, yeah, but I'm still taking the Celtics. The Celtics could throw multiple defenders at Edwards, even though I know no one's if he plays like no one's stopping Edwards. But doesn't mean that Edwards is going to win every series. I mean, he played great. I mean, he looks like Michael Jordan. I mean, we didn't see Michael Jordan, but this is what I envision Michael Jordan being.
No, it's crazy. But like the one thing, because like players, how old's Edwards? 23, 24?
22, maybe.
I think he's 23. I think
he's younger than you.
Yeah, I know.
That's
we
nuts.
really don't see players win their first title until like they're 27.
He's 22. He's 22.
Okay. That's actually a trend where players don't. So maybe he's
younger than
a little too early to win. But if Minnesota, if they would beat Denver and let's say OKC, your confidence in Minnesota would have to be.
Oh yeah, I just still don't think they're better than the Celtics. And the Celtics,
and like watching Celtics yesterday, if White doesn't go off,
they would have whooped them either way. They were up 30 and White was going off. They took the gas off the pedal. They took the foot off the gas.
Tatum never played well yesterday.
Okay, but yeah, exactly. But there's the thing, Logan. You say
just like they didn't take their foot off the pedal.
But you say okay, they definitely did. They definitely did. They don't need Tatum. Here's the thing: the Celtics win the finals. They
don't need Tatum. He's their best player. Arguably.
Okay, but they don't need him every night to be their best player. Anthony Edwards has to be their best player about every night. Yeah, one game he struggled with the Suns, but the Suns deep. Like this, Tatum does not have to be their best player night in and night out. It could be White. It could be Brown. Shoot, I know Porzingis, he can have a game. And I think the thing what's good for them with Porzingis, they're going to beat Miami, and then they're going to beat Cleveland, or even without Porzingis, they're beating Cleveland or Orlando.
They're probably in 4 or 5.
The Celtics are still the best team, in my opinion. They're still the best team.
Well, my hypothetical has to do if Minnesota goes through the route they go through.
No, yeah, but that could be a Nuggets team that doesn't have depth and an OKC team that is still very young.
It's still impressive.
It's impressive. No, it's impressive, but impressive doesn't mean I'm picking you to win it all.
No, but it would make me. I would be if that's how it played out. And let's say I would be very torn. I do not know.
The Celtics. Assuming Porzingis is back, and their starting 5 is easily the best. And Drew Holiday's is their fifth best starter, and that dude's still one of the better defenders in the entire NBA. So, I think it'd be.
That's probably the series I'm actually rooting for at this point.
I want Nuggets Celtics still.
I think Minnesota Celtics.
No one wants Nuggets.
It would be 2 new teams, and I think
but Nuggets. You act like they just won it last year. team could go back-to-back finals
No,
appearances.
I'm not saying I'm tired of the Nuggets. I really like the Minnesota team.
But
I really like watching Anthony Edwards is so fun. It's
I get
fun
what you're
watching
saying.
him.
No, he is. Dude's nuts. He's nuts.
Like
Also,
I think Denver plays really good basketball. Minnesota right now though, they are so fun to watch.
no, they are. They are. They still. Here's the thing, Logan. It's the NBA Finals. I know Karl-Anthony Towns been better. I think Karl-Anthony Towns can be the second best player in a title team. I think it'll take a year. I think I'm just still going to take Denver to beat them.
No, I'm not. This
does.
isn't me saying I'm picking Minnesota over
but
Denver, but I'm just saying
I just the Celtics are kind of experienced. I know. Okay.
Yeah, they're experienced, but can I trust them in big spot? Like in the finals, Tatum is not. He's not good in the fourth quarter. He's one of the worst clutch players in the fourth quarter this year.
Okay, it's this year, but we've seen him be clutch. It's not like he's never been clutch. I'm not the biggest Tatum guy, but last year they're down 3-2 against the Sixers, and he was playing terrible, and then he just went nuts in the fourth quarter. So he's been to a finals. Brown's been to a final. White's been to the finals. Porzingis has been in the playoffs. Holiday's won a title.
Oh, that's what I mentioned earlier. I just think they.
Yeah, but I don't.
Before 27. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I was agreeing.
Anthony Edwards is probably going to win a title before he's 27. I mean, with this team, they're so well built. But the Celtics are even better built. And is Edwards currently better than Tatum? He probably will end up being better than Tatum like next year or 2 years. I still think Tatum's a better player. Edwards is right there.
The fact that you're asking that question, though.
Okay, Anthony Edwards looked like Michael flipping Jordan, Logan. I think we're asking basically, is he better than anyone except Giannis, Jokic, and Luka? Is basically the discussion.
Who? Edwards?
Yes, he gets to be discussed with everyone else. I mean, he looked like Michael. I've never watched Michael Jordan. I guess I've watched highlights, but never actually watched him. And I'm like, oh my god, that guy's Michael Jordan.
The one moment where I was like, "This is the dunk he had against the Sixers in Game 4," and he actually look, he actually got fouled. He got hit in the head and the arm.
Yeah, you meant Suns, but yeah.
Wait, what I said?
Sixers. You said Sixers.
Oh, my bad.
No, yeah, that was like
Sixers, but yeah,
that was like that was a moment. But like he still has a game. I know he was nuts. He still has a game where he goes 3 of 12, and he had 8 assists. Yeah. So he's not fully there yet. But like I'm not hating him, but like because when he will get fully there, the NBA in the future. So Jokic will still be great for a while. Luka will be great. Luka does not looking good right now, but
is Luka in this off topic? But is Luka, because he has the highest usage rate? Are we seeing him kind of?
I don't think he does this year because he has Kyrie doing a lot.
I know he looks tired.
Well, they say his knees hurt. I think he needs to get in better shape in the offseason.
He's also playing more defense, so I think he's also getting tired on that end.
But okay, he's been to a conference finals. I'm not concerned about Luka.
I'm not disputing. I'm saying
at all.
Like this,
I think he's fine. But as I was saying, the future in the NBA. So it's been like Jokic, Luka, Wemby, all European players. And we got. Edwards. That's gonna be fun. That's going to be fun if Jokic and Luka could stay at like where they are in like 5 years from now. And then Wemby and Edwards are like at getting to their peaks. Like, oh my gosh. The NBA, I think this is like the perfect year for Edwards to explode because it's now like out with the old and with the new. But I think if they're them, I think the NBA would not want Edwards to win this year. They want it to build a little. Not win right away.
I know, like if they get to the finals, though, Edwards is probably playing his best ball if they get to the finals.
No, yeah, but
which is why I'm like,
the Celtics could literally throw their entire starting lineup outside of Porzingis at Edwards on.
That is nice. Possession. That isn't. Now I just saw that Kawhi Leonard's out tomorrow, and what's interesting about that is
Kawhi's out like the whole flipping series, basically.
I know, but the Clippers are 2-0 without Kawhi in the series and 0-2 with him. So that's just something that's interesting to think about.
I still think the Mavericks are fine. I think Luka's playing terrible, and they almost came back. If Luka gets it going, it's literally over. Like it's over.
It'll be interesting. I think the rest of these playoffs. I think Knicks win tonight. At this point, I don't know the Cavs and Orlando series. I'm kind of because Orlando's dominated the last 2 games. Like they've scored.
Yeah, but can't you see the Cavs winning like by 20 tonight?
Well, I can see the game being 95-88 or something.
I can see it being like 95-77. It could go either way. I don't even know.
I'm not too sure about that one. Now there's Pacers I think win tonight.
Yeah, that just sucks for the Bucks. They're old and it's really showing.
Yeah.
They're getting hurt
Yeah.
everywhere.
So I guess if it plays out like that though, there will be no games on Thursday, which kind of sucks.
We can use the day off.
At this time of the year, I need some basketball because now football.
No. I
draft's
could use
over.
the day to chill, man. I'm about to graduate Thursday. I'm presenting my capstone. I'm done with that class. I can use the day. I don't have my meeting. If you give me a free Thursday, I'm okay. No basketball. I can.
Yeah, but watching basketball at the bar, that's kind of fun. You can do that on Thursday.
Yeah, but
I guess actually at that point it'll be Pacers and Bucks.
Exactly. And it'd only be cool if they somehow win tonight. First off, it's like Pacers, what the hell are you doing?
It'd only be cool if Giannis and Lillard somehow came back. But I just don't, at this point, I think Giannis is just being smart and not forcing himself to play. Which is what I would do. I would
that Lillard thing in the offseason, I just think the Bucks are gonna run it back a year because they got hurt. They're gonna run it back. But
I could see them kind of. I don't know if you can trade Giannis and Lillard and get like just.
But you can literally if you told me Giannis and Lillard were healthy to start these playoffs, I think they could win it all. That'd be my thought. I'm but I know it hasn't been great, but they could.
Next year they'll be a year older.
Too.
They'll be a year older. No, I know,
but you still take your shot. I think I think it's different than the Suns. I think you take your shot with one more year because if it doesn't work out, you could still trade them both the following year. Would the return be a little less? Yes, but you're risking that for an NBA title. And Giannis has already won.
At this point, where would you rank in the NBA? Let's say they're healthy.
I'm not giving up the third best player in the world or second best. I'm just not doing that when I could win a title. Sorry, not doing it. It's not like Durant, who's 36, but he's still great, and Booker, but they're fringe top 10, probably not top 10. Giannis is top 3. I'm not giving up on
at this point. I don't.
Lillard and Middleton have both played well this series, so they could both still be good. You'd have to mix up the rest of the lineup. I'd probably want to just keep Pat Bev, keep Malik Beasley. I think it would be time to try to move on from Lopez and Portis.
I think they're going to win a title. Lucky. I'm not saying it's closed, but we've been talking about it. There are new players coming into their prime, I don't know. I think Minnesota. I think their window's I think it's very slim if they even open at all to win a title.
But they're way 29.
Milwaukee. I know, and he's one of their youngest players. That's
it's a problem. But if your oldest players are your main 3, but then if you could trade Portis and Lopez and get younger around there, keep Pat Bev. I think Pat Bev, nice player to have.
Keep Pat Bev.
It's not a lot of money, and Pat Bev is honestly, you're probably not getting many players at the value of Pat Bev because he's making an impact. You just know he is. He's being a pain. Yes, I'd keep Pat Bev. And then you have to figure out the rest. You do, but I'm not giving up on it.
I'll tell you what, if Doc Rivers is a coach next year,
you should probably not keep Doc Rivers. That was a terrible decision. And Doc Rivers was good as a media person.
You can wrap up any title chances they have next year.
That's what makes me even more upset.
Next year.
That's what makes me even more upset. He was really good at his new job. That made me upset. I like Doc Rivers on air, and it's dude, just don't coach. Just call it. But I mean, yeah. I still think you have a shot. I want to give up on it. And Lillard was saying how he had a lot of stuff going on in his life and maybe come into next year more rejuvenated, more fresh mentally. And Giannis would be pissed. And I think a pissed Giannis is scary.
No, I don't think you trade Lillard unless you trade Giannis. I don't think you trade Lillard and keep Giannis.
Unless you could trade Lillard and get multiple pieces that are pretty. If you went to the Heat, this is interesting. If you went to the Heat and you said Hero, Hawkes, Jovic,
isn't that what Portland asked for essentially last summer?
But they asked for they wanted every pick. You'd have to be
if I'm the Heat, I'm not giving that up.
The Heat are going to be desperate. So I mean, Hero, Lillard's a big upgrade. I don't care.
What if he just didn't trade anybody and tried to sign Paul George? I'd rather do that.
They can't sign Paul George. Logan, you want to guess how much money the Heat have next year?
I'm guessing a lot because they're paying Hero, Butler, and Adebayo.
They are fourth. They have $182 million, and guess what? Caleb Martin is on his last year.
How much is Duncan Robinson? How much is he being paid next
year? I mean, Duncan Robinson's good, but he's overpaid. He's pretty solid, but yeah, he's being paid $19 million. Okay, if you go Hero, Robinson, Hawkes, Jovic, straight up, not even include picks.
Personally, I want to do that.
I mean, I don't know if I would either, but Hero's being overpaid too.
Hawkes has been really solid. Hero, I think he's overpaid, but I think he's been solid, and I like.
Yeah, but Jovic. Lillard is much better than Hero. So your lineup would be next year. Let's just say the trade I said. You'd have you trade Rozier as well. You find a way to get rid of him and get some assets. So Jimmy, Bam, Lillard, the assets for Rozier, Caleb Martin, Kevin Love, Josh Richardson. You got to re-sign Hayward Highsmith, and they'll probably draft some weirdos who are okay and do their Miami Heat things.
I'm not making that trade.
I just have another trade. So you trade for them, you do that trade, and then you go to the Lakers and you trade back for Caleb Martin and like Rui for Rozier. If D'Lo declines his option, I don't think that's bad. It's a risk, but I don't think it's bad because Jimmy Butler has like 2 years left to win. And I don't think Tyler Hero being your second scorer is getting it done.
Nothing. I'm have Jimmy Butler and Damian Lillard who have both been
okay.
Hurt.
Well, yeah, but you're trying to win. You're trying to win in these last couple of years. You're trying to win these last couple of years, and you will have Bam, who's young, who could take you after that. I think the Heat have to make a move, and I'd be okay with that move.
I think you have to make a move too, but I'm not doing it for Lillard.
Would you trade Hero and okay? If you would trade Hero for Lillard if it would be straight up matching, right?
Yeah, but you can't do that.
Okay, but what would you add to Hero that the Heat?
Because you also think about what the teams would want. The Bucks wouldn't just want Hero.
Well, yeah, but Hero's. I think Hero's
if I'm the Heat, I don't know if I would trade those players. Like the three that you mentioned, I just don't know if I would trade them for Lillard. Okay. I'm not doing that.
But would you trade maybe Hero, Jovic, and Duncan?
Bucks aren't taking that.
You'd have to add probably picks. Each team would be desperate. I mean, the Heat can't be. If the Bucks are trading Lillard and keeping Giannis, Bucks have to go get something that's good enough, and the Heat cannot bring this roster back next year. They're just not winning.
No, they have to make a move, but
I think it's move Hero. Hero's good, but I think that with the Heat, he's thrown these positions where it's ISO a lot. But could you imagine him next to Middleton?
Okay, so what would you trade? Let's not even talk about Lillard. Let's just say trade Hero in general. Could they hypothetically trade Hero and still get Paul George? Or is that just something that
it would be a sign and trade, but I don't think the Clippers are doing that. They're going to keep spending too much money, but it's just on Tyler Hero.
Okay, what if you trade Hero elsewhere? What if you trade
then Hero you still elsewhere? Can't sign Paul George. Logan, they have, I think the cap's at like 140-ish. They have 182 mil, so you have to get rid of like 80 mil.
See, I thought I heard somewhere like Wojnarowski said that like they have a lot of cap space for next year. I thought I heard him say that. Maybe
they have like no cap space for next year. You misheard. They were going for a star. They're talking about going for Donovan Mitchell. I think that was a thought, but they have cap space to trade. That's probably what you heard.
Okay.
And I would rather have Donovan Mitchell than Lillard. Like that's pretty easy. So if you go get Donovan Mitchell, God, it could be a fun offseason. I mean, LeBron, I just think he's staying with the Lakers. I think he'll do like the thing where it's like a little back and forth, and then he eventually just resigns for 2 years, player option. Yeah, it could be fun. A lot of stuff, moving pieces that could happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting offseason.
And the playoffs this year they've been great, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like the second round may disappoint a little.
It kind of depends on matchups. I mean, I think Minnesota.
But okay, looking at it, Celtics versus either.
Well, the East is bad.
And then, but Knicks Sixers has been good. But I'm like, Knicks Pacers does not sound fun.
No, it's just the base of the West. The West will be the West.
Yes.
It's gonna be OKC against Clippers or Dallas.
I think OKC.
That's a good series.
Neither Dallas or if Dallas are playing at their best, that could be a weird series where Dallas whoops them, but they're not doing it yet, so I can't say that. I don't know.
I think OKC has a better shot winning against the Mavericks than they do with the Clippers.
Yeah, I'd agree, especially if Kawhi were to come back. Because at that point, I think they're not bringing Kawhi back until he's healthy.
Clippers have way more experience, way more size. I think
it would be OKC Dallas probably more fun to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That could be. Yeah, the second round may be solely West.
It's just the West. Yeah.
But I could see like the East Finals of Knicks.
The rest of the East playoffs will probably not be that good.
No, but I could see a Celtics Knicks go 5 games, but like a really fun 5
That's what we're calling a good series nowadays.
Okay, you didn't listen to my full statement, but it's like a really fun 5 games. Like all 5 games, the Knicks are grinding it out and they're getting close in every game. I could see that.
I think the East is gonna be pretty anticlimactic, and Celtics are gonna run through them.
But I just think, couldn't you see 5 entertaining games between Knicks and Celtics? Maybe one.
I can see going 5 games, but I don't think every game's gonna be close.
I think most would.
If it's in 5 games,
the Celtics
I would see like 2 to 3 games.
Lakers Nuggets had 5 good games. It was a 5-game series.
Yeah, but that's a completely different conversation. Those two teams that match up very evenly with each other.
Yes, and I think the Celtics are much more talented, but the Knicks make more of those plays.
If you're discussing like Celtics can throw everybody Anthony Edwards, you can definitely throw people Jalen Brunson. Okay, and that's all the Knicks have.
Yes, I agree, but at the same time, it's like Knicks Sixers, where it's gonna go 5 games possibly, but every game's been a good game. I'm just saying that series could be like that. If the Pacers somehow make it to, I like the Pacers, but unless Halliburton dips into that October-November Halliburton, Pacers Celtics would be a bore. Halliburton would have to play how he was early on.
I mean, Celtics may lose 3 total games in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
No, yeah, they're really good. That's why they should be favored against anyone they play.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's probably gonna do it for our episode today. I know Luke has the yearbook. Is that what you're going to? Yearbook?
Yeah, the yearbook banquet.
Extravaganza. What is it? Banquet or something?
Banquet. I mean, it's at a barbecue place. Have some nice barbecue.
Oh, so that's why Luke's going, because he's not even part of the yearbook. So that's why he's going. That's definitely why.
Those are the homies.
Yep. But yeah, that'll do it for our episode today. Make sure to follow our YouTube page, subscribe to our YouTube page. You can also find us on Spotify. And next week we'll probably talk about more NBA. These series will probably be concluded, so we'll probably do second round preview if those games.
It'll probably be within second round. Will start by then.
Yeah. So probably some more NBA talk, NFL here in a couple months. So and schedule releases in May. So maybe we'll talk about that here in a few weeks. But yeah, until then, subscribe to the YouTube, follow Spotify, and always leave comments in the video.
Peace.